Today's Japanese slang term is oinori meru, or for short, just oinori. Now, if you know what inoru means, you might think that this is a good thing. It's a prayer mail, right? Well, unfortunately, this might be an email that you pray not to get, but an oinori meru is a very, very bad thing, because it's a message telling you that you did not get a job. Why are these called prayer mails? Well, the origin of this term comes from a common thing said at the end of a rejection email in Japanese, which is something like, pray for the best of luck in your future endeavors. The term then therefore just takes the oinori part and puts it onto meru, making that the combination. Perhaps an English version would be like a best of luck email or a best wishes for the future mail. That doesn't roll off the tongue at all, but it's still taking something that's very, very common in a rejection mail and making it the title of this new term. As a word, oinori meru is quite simple. Like, it's usually a noun, as you can see in a post like this, discussing a rejection letter that has come, right? Kimashita. Importantly though, these rejection mails have to be rejection from something you applied to. This term is not used if you're rejected by, say, a romantic partner or something like that, but it can be used in rejection, for instance, a lottery for tickets to a show, as in this example here. And understandably, it's something that people are often quite upset about, as no one really wants to receive one of these. There is a bunch of flexibility in how you phrase this though. As I mentioned, the meru part can be dropped, as you can see here, but there's also a number of verbs you can use. We saw kimashita, but kuratta, which is like to experience something negative, is used quite commonly too. And sometimes oyomu, or like I read, is used as well. You can also be inorareta, or prayed, the passive form, when you are rejected. This person here, for instance, literally says was prayed to mean that they got a rejection mail, and this person just uses the phrase as is in a very, very straightforward way. And yeah, Japanese people are aware that this phrasing is a bit odd, as this person who says that they've been rejected so many times they wonder if they're a god, because again, they're being prayed to, right? Indeed, there are even other interesting phrasings like watashi o inotta kaisha, or the company that did not hire me, as you can see in an example like this one here. This term is not new at all, I just think it's interesting. Compared to some of the terms I regularly describe, this is actually one that's pretty well known, and it's not new at all. I can find examples going back to 2011 or even earlier without too much issue, and I found websites claiming that this goes back to 2002, which I couldn't really find, but minimally here's the furthest back I could find a clear example. Indeed, there's even a Wikipedia page for it, which lists 2007 as the year that this came up in mass use, with most people believing that it came from 2chan and then moved into the mainstream. Or at least, the semi-mainstream. If it was really mainstream, I would not be talking about one of my videos. But this isn't a dead term at all, as in 2011 it was still listed as like top slang terms on a few lists, or at least slang terms for business. This leads to the second term I want to cover in this video though, because if you get prayed at too much, you may end up as NNT, or nainaite. Now this is actually like a instance of double wordplay, as naite on its own is a informal job offer. Not as in under the table, but just that the documents haven't been signed yet, but everyone's pretty sure it's going to be going forward. The term nainaite is then a kind of extension of this, where the offer is super unofficial, as in it's even less set in stone than a naite, which again is not 100% set in stone. While this is definitely slangy, it appears in major dictionaries, and Google Trends have been noting use since at least 2004. The NNT, or nainaite, is then a parody of nainaite, making it so instead of using the same kanji twice, we turn the repetition into the kanji using before and replace the first kanji with nai, or not. And this refers to the fact that you have no job offers whatsoever, not even tentative ones. This is at least more fairly recent, or popped off more recently, as in 2001 it made a list of top employment slang terms, with the NNT shortening, which I can't look up on Google because there's an NNT company, so the trends are completely messed up, being used as a bit of gallows humor to note that your unemployment prospects are not good. In other words, you're a god. You've been prayed at too much. This person, for instance, notes that their parents blame them for being NNT all the time and it makes them quite sad. And this person laments going into the new year as an NNT. Not a phone company, but a person who doesn't have a job anywhere, including a phone company. There are claims that ANT, or ant, is being used, the shortening of arunaite. I can't really find evidence of this. At least at the time I'm recording this video. I'll pop something above my head if I was able to. But hey, it was written somewhere, so I don't know. If a Japanese person says to you, watashi wa anto desu, at least you know. But what you also do need to be careful about is that NNT can be a shortening of ninniku, nira, tamago, or garlic, Chinese chives, and egg, which is a popular ingredient in spicy ramen. And no, I'm not joking. That use exists. Well, usually I end my videos by encouraging people not to use the terms I talk about, and these I actually think you can use them, but I hope you never have to, and they never get used to you. May you never be prayed to, may you be an ant instead of an nt, and I hope that you at least have enough money lying around to afford some NNT.